All right. Good night to you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls in Radio Land. Good night. This is NRP Radio and NRP Media. We're coming to you live on our platforms, nrpmediaja.com. That's our radio platform, our YouTube channel at NRP Media JA, and also on Facebook Live. It is a pleasure to have all of you tuning in at this time. We are joined by a number of learned persons, very, very skilled in the various areas. 5 minutes now going up to the hour of 9 o'clock. And this is the NRP Radio Election 2025 review. Let's hit the road now with our guests online, and we'll be joined momentarily by others. Let's go like this. Hello, NRP listeners. Join us on Election Day for the NRP Election Watch. Here the panelists review the debates, look at the voter turnout, and give you the latest box by box and constituency by constituency count. Yes, it's an election like never before. Tune in on YouTube and Facebook at NRP Media JA and on our radio platform at nrpmediaja.com, connecting you with our partners in the diaspora, KVRN Network and Gospel Expression Radio, NRP Radio and NRP Media, reaching you where you are, no boundaries, no limitations. All right, well, thank you so much for sticking and staying with us right here on the station. I hope that audio we played came through on your side, and if not, we will somehow get it back in later on. But we are joined tonight by two very important gentlemen to the recent election, just about 24 or 48 hours. Have we gone 48 hours yet? Into the since the election has been completed. Mr. Glasspool Brown, who is the director of election. Of course, we've got Don Anderson, the pollster, who is online with us. Gentlemen, of course, we also have Joshua Dwyer, who is one of our panelists tonight, and we all together will be discussing for a few moments the election just passed. But welcome, gentlemen. How are you doing?
Very good, very good. Good to be on your program for the first time.
Wonderful. Welcome, Sir Don. I know you were trying hard to give us some support, but based on rules and regulations, you couldn't have done so prior to the election.
Right. Good. Here we are.
That's right. That's right. So we're going to start off with you, Sir Don. You conducted a poll just prior to the elections, covering a number of persons island-wide. Tell us about your poll. How was it done? Number of persons that were included, etc., and the turnout, as it were.
So we interviewed a total of 1,010 persons island-wide. They were all 18 years and over, all registered to vote. And fieldwork was conducted. We did two polls in August. The one that I'm referring to now, the last one was done between the 22nd and the 26th of August. And as we indicated, reflected a nationally representative sample of 1,010 persons across the island. All right, so we did face-to-face interviews. And of course, we did all the processing in our office.
Okay, and based on your, you would refer to it as a scientific poll, would it be? Would it be classified like that?
Absolutely.
Okay, wonderful.
Our technique
and having done that, you had given certain predictions based on the information that you would have gathered on the street. What went wrong and what went right?
Well, we didn't give any predictions actually. Coming from the study, we came up with data which indicated that the People's National Party did an upturn, and from a situation where they had declined in call it for want of a better word, share of market, they declined to 1 percentage point ahead of the Jamaica Labour Party in the previous first poll that we did in August. But in the second poll, the one we're referring to now, they regained some importance in the marketplace and moved up to 3.1 percentage points ahead of the Jamaica Labour Party 5 or 6 days before the election. So they're leading the Jamaica Labour Party by 3.1 percentage points. So both parties gained between the first and the second August poll, but the People's National Party gained more to widen the lead from 0.8%, which was what we calculated it to be in the first August poll, up to 3.1% in the second August poll. So that was a key finding. We didn't make any predictions. On the basis of that, we concluded it was going to be a very close election and that the outcome would be determined by the party that had the best ground game on the day.
Okay, and based on the number of the edges you said, one particular party based on what the voters responded, I would have said that they would have it would have put the People's National Party, as it were, at the time ahead by some percentage points.
Correct.
Right, and so having gone through the election, and we've now seen what took place. Any concerns that you have regarding how the poll worked out?
No. When we calculated that margin for the People's National Party at 3.1 percentage points, that's just outside the margin of error. All right, which means that there's some degree of potential variability between what we found and the actual. And we said that the actual would be determined by how best each party conducted itself on the day, how they were able to get out their supporters. And basically, that would be the key factor. But we also indicated that elections right across the region, not in Jamaica only, but right across the region have become quite transactional. And therefore we can't factor for that. We have no idea. But surely with our data that we calculated, the People's National Party went into that election yesterday with an advantage based on the data. And it would appear from the outcome that the Jamaica Labour Party had a better ground execution. They certainly got out more people than the People's National Party did.
Is there any work that any of the parties, whether they be independent, the Jamaica Labour Party or the PNP, need to do to kind of work, allow the poll to in my own words, work in their favor?
Not to my knowledge. I mean, that would have to be an influence at the electoral office, and I'm sure Mr. Brown would absolutely refute any such even suggestion. So I would
Yes,
say not to my knowledge. All right.
yes, yes.
I imagine the data comes in, it's counted, or people go and vote, it's counted, it's sent to the electoral office, and they report what they find, just like
Indeed.
we do.
Yes. Joshua? Joshua, have any questions for Mr. Anderson before we go
No,
to
I just found the clip a while ago pretty amusing. I hope Mr. Glasspool can have his way in where that is concerned. But I'm particularly happy with what I've been seeing, not necessarily hearing on social media about the activities yesterday. So I trust that everything actually went according to plan. Based on what Mr. Anderson is sharing, it was close in numbers statistically, and he's spot on that it really came down to what happened on the day. The groundwork really paid off for the returning administration.
Indeed, I have two more questions for you, Mr. Anderson, before we go to
Sure.
Glasspool. Well, your answer, I'm sure, would be yes to the one that I'm going to ask now, in terms of whether or not political parties should rely on polls in trying to win an election.
I know you're probably picking it up from a number of interviews that were done by a certain gentleman.
Yes,
Name won't be called.
yes.
You know, I would say yes. You're talking about obviously responding to polls that are conducted by reputable organizations, independently done and with no interest in who wins. We are that kind of entity. We do a poll, we conduct the poll, and we report what we find. All right. So political parties who are interested in winning an election would obviously want to listen to, read through, read into whatever poll findings they get from a reputable polling organization, and then take action on the basis of that. All right. So, it helps them to shape their strategy Of course, polls are done from, long before an election, and the reason for doing a poll at different times vary. It could be to find a candidate. It could be to see how the candidate is doing. It could be to see how the party is doing. It could be for messaging, to determine what's the best message. So, um, I would imagine a political party that's serious about moving forward and ensuring that they make the connection with the public that they want to influence would look at the poll findings and make their determination and take their decisions on the basis of what those poll findings are. And again, the poll findings, the objectives are all different based on the different times. As we get closer to an election, they really want to know how they're doing in terms of the opposition or the other party, or the other parties. Um, Further away, they may want to use a poll to determine which is the best candidate. So they'll run a number of candidates and, then they would use the poll findings to determine which is the best candidate to put in that area. Once they're through with that and they're getting closer to an election, they may want to do some messaging polls to see, okay, what's the right message I should be using in that campaign. So it all varies, but to answer your question, absolutely yes. Political parties serious about doing well would want to listen to what the public is saying and take the cue from that and determine what decisions they make from that point on.
I haven't done the research on you in terms, so you could probably say to us, how long you been doing polls in Jamaica?
How old are you? Don't answer the question.
I'm sure long after Don Anderson has moved on, it will be referred to as a Don Anderson poll.
Well, we're not so sure about that. But anyway, to answer your question,
Yes.
we run a market research organization. It's Market Research Services Limited. That company was set up 50 years ago. And we began to do political polls in 1989. And I make the point of informing the public about this every time, that I was dragged into political polling by one Edward George Siaga in 1989. So I'm now, what do you put that, 36 years in political polling. But it's a small portion of the market research business, but guess what? It's the loudest, right? When we do market research for private sector organizations, it's never get published because the data is proprietary. When we do political polls, everybody in the country wants to know. So it's broadcast on radio and television and social media, etc. So it's a loud part of what we do, but it really represents a relatively small portion of our market research business. Our motto is always asking questions, always providing answers. So any industry that you can think of, we have done work in there over a number of years, over 50 years.
Okay, and I'm going to preface my final question to you regarding two neighbors who have built a lovely house in, let's say, in 1998, but then came another your neighbor decided that, look here, I've done my tours across the world, and I've come up and seen where houses can be built a different way, and I come up with a new looking one. Are you in any way, you are the longest organization in terms of polling in Jamaica, as you have indicated, but you do have competition. Are you by any way perturbed by what's happening elsewhere and the reliance of others on other polls other than yours?
Put it this way. In about 1981, they were about 6 years after the organization was set up. I became the president of what was called the Market Research Association of Jamaica, which means that there are a number of research companies that were operating in Jamaica even from then. I happen to have been the first and only president of that particular association because it became defunct after about 5 years. But I'm making that point to say I've been faced with competition from the early days of the existence of the organization. So,
which is good.
Which is good. So
it helps you to realign sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So we've had competition, and research companies have come and gone, and market research companies have come and gone, and we've been here. So yeah, we coexist in that environment. Obviously, we are conscious about ensuring that we maintain our cutting edge advantage, and surely but we recognize the value of having competition.
So would it be safe to say that after every election that is held and every poll that you run, you go back to the drawing table and see what is it that I could do different for the next time around?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There are certain core approaches that you use, which is based on proper scientific market research principles. All right. But then you want to fine tune and obviously, change, sort of improve whatever you do on every occasion. It's not always necessary to do it on every occasion, but whenever we find the need to and the reason for fine tuning what we do, we do. We stay competitive.
Joshua?
Amen.
Excellent. Like I say, I'm soaking up this information because I've always known Mr. Anderson in the space. So getting this bit of history is particularly useful. What might consider it, well, I suppose he mentioned it earlier that a certain interview was had and the particular politician dismissed the the notion that the PMP was leading by 3.1% and was particularly dismissive. And I know that sometimes it may be an inflated ego because of the atmosphere and what is going on. Because I know for sure that the value of this report uh, really exceeds one's expectation at times, and even in my assumptions, I found it very very intriguing, the detail that I was finding in the reports and the statistics. So I mean, I thought it would have taken me maybe a half hour to just browse through and figure out what is going on there, but the conversations extended into a couple of hours well, because I couldn't look at any one grouping in isolation because one supported the other and one provided grounds for the other. And you kind of
Yes.
understood a lot of what the numbers were telling. So when I heard that 3.1, and I tried to justify it. I mean, I'm in IT, so the details kind of matter to me. So when I got into it, personally, I probably would not have gone into that much detail, but only the artists understand the brushstrokes. So I
Absolutely.
can tell you, sir, that I really appreciate your art. It is an art,
Thank
and
you very much.
I can never appreciate you enough for the work that you are doing. Keep it up,
But it's a
sir.
team, we have a big team, not a big team, but big in the sense that big in terms of quality, but the numbers are small. But we have a team that works together and that supports what we see outside in the marketplace, So we're very proud of that team. And some of the members of the team have been with me almost those 50 years. So,
Wow.
My goodness.
so it's very
Well, what
important.
else
That's a
is
long
there to
time.
do?
Yeah, very important. Very important to mention that.
Yes.
Okay?
But looking at the statistics that you presented in terms of when you went out in the field, I'm a little bit concerned that the negative impact that it might have on a pollster. Having done the thing and the person's indicated that I'm going in this direction, and then at the end of the day, things change, dynamics of the game, they would say. But would there be any concern at all that you would have in terms of how the electorate behaved this time around?
Mm.
Are you talking about the comparison between, for want of a better word, the prediction or the likely outcome based on
Yes,
and
yes,
and
yes,
how it
yes.
actually
Because
comes
persons
out?
told that they would likely vote for that party, but in the end, you'll see things have changed. If you were to do a revision of to go back through the field again and say, okay, but you told me this and you turned out this. What happened?
No. Well, I tell you what, happily, and I'm very glad you asked that question because it gives me an opportunity to talk about our track record,
Mm.
right? We have done, as you indicated, polling in Jamaica for 36 years. We've also done political polling in about 8 Caribbean countries. All right, we can name them if necessary, but 8 political polls in 8 Caribbean countries. And people don't give you their business unless they trust your information, because we have the only product we have is confidentiality and credibility.
Indeed.
All right. So, and we've done a lot of repeat studies right throughout the Caribbean, in St. Kitts, in Antigua, in the Bahamas, in Turks and Caicos, in Cayman Islands, in Grenada, in St. Lucia, name it. All right. And we have had repeat businesses in those territories. We've also, of course, done in Jamaica. And we also want to draw it to a particularly relevant sphere now, which is in Jamaica. Now we go back to 2002, just picking a number from, we could go back to 97 and so on, but
Yes.
let's start with 2002. When we were complete with the prediction, and we did predict on that occasion how the election would turn out in 2002, the Gleaner Company for whom we were then working were so proud that they took out a full page ad in their newspaper on the back page, best page, and sort of indicated what we predicted and how it came out in the election. And the title of that one page commercial advertisement was Spot On. All right, so that's 2002. 2007, we predicted again under pressure from CVM that we were then working for. So we have done a gamut of the media houses. For CVM, we predicted that the Jamaican Labour Party would win 32 seats and the People's National Party 28. I want your audience to note carefully. We predicted that the Jamaican Labour Party would win 32 seats and the PNP 28. We did that prediction on the Sunday before the Monday of the election. On the Monday night, the outcome was 32%, 32 for the Jamaica Labour Party, 32 seats, 28 seats for the People's National Party. Spot on. 2011 was rather easy. It was after the Doodle situation when the government of the day, the Jamaica Labour Party became quite unpopular. And it was very easy to predict how that would come. So we were again right. In 2016, the election, which was probably before this one, the most hotly contested election in recent memory, we had the People's National Party likely to win by 2.8 percentage points. That was an election that they ought to have won by more than 2.8 percentage points, but my data said 2.8 percentage points. When the dust settled, the Jamaica Labour Party flipped it. In the last week, you remember, before the election, the People's National Party decided not to debate, and there were a couple of other issues. When the dust settled on that election, the Jamaica Labour Party won by 1 seat, 32 to 31. You can't get any closer than that. Okay, that was 2016. You know, that was at the time when the People's National Party were fragmenting. So between 2017 and 2022, we did about 8 national polls. None of them, I repeat, none of them had the People's National Party within striking distance. The average lead by the Jamaica Labour Party was 10 percentage points. And in June 2020, when we did that poll, the Jamaica Labour Party was 16 percentage points ahead of the People's National Party. And the election, Jamaica Labour Party won 49, PNP 14. So that's giving you a couple of them that, you know, clearly indicates that there's not been any significant variance between what we have indicated as the likely outcome and what the actual outcome is. The most recent one, of course, apart from yesterday, was the local government election where we had the Jamaica Labour Party 1 percentage point ahead, and it took the electoral office about 5 days to determine who really won. People's National Party won the popular vote, Jamaica Labour Party won more councils. I've given you those 5 or 6 to show that there has not been really any significant variance. But again, a lot of people read into all of these things how they want to read it, just like how they read into what the data says based on what side they're on.
Yes.
I'm either the best pollster or the worst pollster.
It's something that they will continue to judge you by.
Absolutely. They all take sides, and therefore that's a perspective.
Yes.
Has anybody though asked you directly why did one lose versus why did the other one win?
Well, we always have that question in, you know, every time we do a poll and we ask people, are you going to vote? So we get voter turnout information. Sometimes we ask, why not? But then we always ask, who are you going to vote for? And when we ask that question, we ask, why are you going to vote for this party? So we have a whole heap of information as to why people vote for each of the two parties or whatever parties that they are.
Well, after this, we're going to have to ask maybe ask Mr. Anderson to probably do something for NRP. Who to tell?
Well, absolutely. By the way, one of the first studies that we did in Jamaica as a market research organization was the media survey. So from time immemorial, we've been known as the Bible of the advertising industry because we have done the all media surveys for oh God, from 1970 plus,
Mm,
right, until now.
wonderful. All right, I want to tell our listeners and viewers that we are doing our recap or review of the election that just concluded yesterday. And Don Anderson, pollster, is with us this evening, as well as the Director of Elections, Mr. Glasspool Brown. If you want to send us any questions that you'd like to ask, you can send me a voice note to a WhatsApp voice note to 876-336-9928. That's 876-336-9928. Or if you're on the YouTube channel, NRP Media JA, you could post your questions there. Or on Facebook, if you're there, you can also post your question, and we will amplify them for you. We're going to move on. Say thanks to you, Mr. Anderson, for coming in and accommodating us, providing us with some information. And we know that you have you're a very, very busy gentleman. And there are things happening day and night. Sometimes you wonder if you get time to sleep.
I do. But if you don't mind, I'd love to hear some of what Mr. Brown is saying. So I
Indeed,
will
and yes,
be quiet.
we just know that you may have to hop off at a
Right.
particular
Okay.
time, right? But Mr. Brown, welcome, sir.
Hi, good to be with you. I
Sorry.
like Dan. I like Dan. I only have a couple of minutes because I have to
Yes,
go into
yes.
another meeting shortly.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Well, we know that that's the part of the job, and we recognize you can't be on camera with us tonight because of probably where you are at this moment. But if you
Right.
could, then it would be appreciated. But tell us about the election. You went into the election. Things were organized, and there were a few challenges here and there, I'm told. Maybe you could confirm that in terms of workers signing on and some not being available to you at the time. But all in all, how do you review the electoral office's input into this election?
Well, it was a very challenging election for us. We had some challenge, some concerns, what was expressed in the public domain. But by and large, I think we did a very good election. We had a very good election in terms of our execution. We are heartened by the reports that came from the observers, certain from CAFE, OAS, and CARICOM in terms of the day itself. Just on some positives, our polling stations were all open by 99% of them were open by 7 a.m., which was good. During the course of the day, the processing went smoothly. One or two little delays. Most of people, there was that complain a person spending a longer time in the line than usual. We were able to allow persons who wanted or had the patient to so execute or cast a ballot. Certainly, we did not deny anybody who were in the line at 5 p.m. as guided by the law. They were allowed to cast their ballot. Certainly, we were able to give the result in a timely way. Certainly, by 10 p.m., the nation was aware in terms of who were the winners in the various constituencies and in terms of the by-elections also. So about our assessment, yes, we executed well. And I won't deny there was one or two concerns, but these concerns, we are at a point that we normally do in every election. And we've started that this morning to do a review, look at all the activities took place, look at where we could have done better, etc. So that review is now on the way, and we hope to, when we can conclude that in a very short order, we'll determine those issues that we had that impacted on us yesterday.
And you're saying categorically that you have not received any reports, though we've heard that there were some persons in lines. I'm not too sure if those investigations, how far you've gotten with those investigations of persons being in line and were not allowed to vote because of some reason or the other. Is there any truth to that?
No, well, those reports never come to us, certainly in terms of the election center that became operational yesterday. I know for a fact that a number of stations continued to operate even up to 8 p.m. last night. So the instruction to all the location, all our presiding officers, all our supervisors, that we continue to operate the polling station until everybody who wanted to vote would have been allowed to do so. So therefore, I have not had any major report that persons were prevented from voting. As I said, there was some concern that was expressed that I understand a few people might have came early, and had some issues in terms of the wait time, but then they actually came back in the afternoon. That's where my information is in terms of what came into my office up to this afternoon.
Okay. And you are now at the point where you are doing the recounts.
Right, the recount started this morning in our 63 constituencies. They continue and they will continue until they are completed. A few have been completed to this afternoon based on the report I got. A few of them, a small amount, I will have completed the recount already. But yes, that process started, and we will continue to count until everything, all the constituencies are recounted. We anticipate that it should be hopefully that we're keeping our fingers crossed that it should be completed by over the weekend.
And based on what you've seen, no major change in any of the results.
Not so far.
Okay. All right. Josh, we have any question for Sir Brown?
Just one in particular, as it really, because I'm more so interested in systems and how systems work. And I know that I'm not sure, and I would hope you can give us some insight into the future of our electoral process in terms of online voting and electronic voting, or something that what would be ideal in terms of more efficient process.
At the Commission and Electoral Office, we have been looking at all our processes and procedures in terms of what need to be improved on, and we continue to do so. Certainly, we depend a lot on technology to do a lot of things that we do. Certainly we have upgraded our system in terms of using the system technology to compare persons' biometric data. Certainly we have a system in place that we are able within a short period of time, maybe a couple of minutes, to be able to compare persons' fingerprint with the entire database. And our database has in excess of 2.5 million data points as relates to fingerprint, etc. And we have upgraded our system in a way that anybody who comes to be registered, we can do that comparison. And the positive about that is that it allows us to ensure that on our voters list, you can only be registered once, and therefore nobody can double vote in terms of having double registration. So that's the other thing. You might be aware of our system that we use known as EVIS, that's the electronic voter identification system. We have a new one which we rolled out recently. And the vision is to expand the use of technology to certainly to impact on some of the things that we do on election day. So we're hoping be in a phased way to expand that use in a number of polling stations going forward. In terms of electronic voting, that's a matter that the lawmakers will have to look at in terms of the amendment to the act to allow that to take place. But then again, you have to bear in mind whether or not the connectivity is there for persons to take advantage of voting online. Then you have to take into consideration the security that when you go online, whether or not the person who's so casting their ballot online is actually the person who's ought to do so, and the secrecy of it, based on our law, etc. So yes, we are looking in terms of the future, in terms of our processes and so on. Certainly, if you look at where we were 10, 15 years ago, and how we are doing a number of things, is somewhat there's significant difference and significant improvement in terms of how we're doing. So we continue to review the processes.
Excellent.
And in terms of the voters list, Sir Brown, how clean would you say it was? 19.
Well, our voters list, we publish it twice per year, every 6 months. The list has ballooned to roughly 2,077,000. On the list, though, there are a number of persons who have migrated. There are a number of persons who have sought to be registered, but the intention is not necessarily to take part in an election, but more so to get an ID. Because our voters ID has morphed itself into a national ID. It's of no cost, it is free. So a number of persons, holders of ID, are whose name on the list are there because they want an ID. And there are some persons on the list because who have died, and there's a process of cleansing the list in terms of removing those persons. We have an arrangement with RGD in terms of using their death record to cleanse it from time to time. We rely on people advising us. We have a relationship with a number of funeral homes, hospitals, etc., etc. So there's some amount of cleansing as we go along, not as fast as we would love to, but there's that process. Ultimately, down the road, though, I think we might reach a point that we might have to just embark on a new numeration exercise so as to get a true picture
I was gonna ask that.
of a person's intention to be on the voters list.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask that because I haven't seen one in a while. And I think we might be due. I know of a few young people who have come of age, and I don't think they're on that voters list.
They can be, you know. Remember, we operate a continuous registration.
Yeah, man, I know, but in terms what I haven't seen a census, and I don't want to say that I've grown accustomed to seeing it because that was many moons ago, because the process has evolved since then. But I'm wondering if that is even a useful venture at this point. But you just mentioned it, so maybe a blitz of some sorts might be necessary.
Yeah, well, ultimately we're good because there's a lot of commentary out there in terms of voter apathy, but voter apathy to a certain extent is measured by voter turnout, the percentage of voter turnout. But you're calculating that percentage based on a base that might be inflated because of the point that I made earlier. And a number of persons are overseas, not necessarily interested in the process, and there are persons on the list who need to be removed because of the fact that they have died.
All right. Looking at
May I
just
ask Mr.
concluded.
Brown one? May I ask Mr. Brown
Yeah.
one question?
Yes, you may, Sir Anderson.
So Sir G, I did a poll. I've been doing a lot of work in the Turks and Caicos, and if you know, but I'll tell you that Turks and Caicos has a voting population of about 9,000 or 10,000 across the island, right? Right across. And they're using the electronic voter system only. And I wonder whether it's a question of the cost of the system because we have 2 million potential voters or what. But they used it for the first time in the last election that I worked in, maybe 6 months ago. And it seemed to have done very well. But it's a very small voting population. So they, I guess, could, but they're very, very, very interested to see that, having worked here for quite some time, quite a few elections, that they were ahead of us.
Yeah, they have a smaller population.
Yes.
That's manageable, 9,000.
Right.
So we have a wider geographical area. Our electors' manual registry is much larger.
Yes.
And their connectivity might be better than ours. So there are a number of things that we need to take into consideration in terms of going that route. Plus, as I said earlier, you'll have to look at certainly amending the legislation.
Yes, to be able to accommodate.
Yeah, right. I know of some areas like Estonia, I think, have a dual system, part manual and part electronic. But it's something being looked at. It's certainly from time to time it's being looked at to see where we go. But in the main though, it is a costly exercise to do this.
I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, and as we I know you've said that you have another meeting to head into. Anything that you want to indicate in terms of how you're seeing the election turn out this time around, Sir Brown?
Well, only final thing I want to say is to just appeal to the electorate and the wider public to be patient with us in terms of the count. It's not that we are counting slow, but it's a process, and it's guided by what the law requires of us. And some of the time is beyond our control. That is, because the process involves our people plus the candidates and their agent, etc. And we have a group of lawyers in a room examining the 100% turnout in terms of the ballot. Sometimes it takes a while for them to debate and discuss whether it's a legitimate ballot and so on. So it takes a while. So the process involves us and the candidates or their representatives So we just ask persons to be a bit patient, and the narrative sometimes is that we are moving slow, etc., etc. But I always tell people it's better we take our time and be correct than rush it and be wrong.
And you mentioned the number of IDs that you have in-house. So what's the plan to treat with this going forward to ensure that long before any election is held for the next 5 years, that we would have passed this?
Well, we continue to appeal to the public to collect, and with that appeal will continue. We do from time to time actually go into communities, set up our satellite sites for persons to come and collect the ID cards. So we're looking at various different programs so we can get them out, and certainly it's more of the legacy card that remain. Those persons who come on the list on a current basis normally tends to come collect theirs. But it's just that legacy amount that we need to get out there. And there are a number of things that we're going to try, initiative that we're looking at to get them out there. So we have cut down the numbers to a certain extent. We are now down to, I think, about 130,000 thereabout. That still remains in offices.
Here's a question for you by one person on Facebook Live. It says, I am living overseas and wanted to vote in the 2025 election. I checked the EOJ website and I wasn't on the voters list. Do I have, let me just solve this a little bit more. Do I have to re-register to get back on the voters list? Can this be done virtually?
No, it can't be done virtually. There must be a reason why if you were there before and you're not on it, I'll have to explain the reason as to why you're not on it. But suffice to say, though, you cannot be registered overseas because there's a verification of your residency aspect to it. So therefore, we have to come and verify your where you live. Such your presence would have to be here.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Thank you, Mr. Brown. I know
Okay.
that from time to time we will call back on you to give us some reviews in terms of what's going. But the final thing I wanted to ask you though, you're operating in two capacities. You're a director of elections. There's another hat that you wear. Am I correct on that?
Well, number hats. I'm a director of election, and by extension, I'm a commissioner of the ECJ, and I'm also ombudsman.
Well, that's the last one there is what I was trying to remember, if it was you or somebody else. But as you mentioned, the ombudsman, how challenging was this for you to be operating in these two capacities? And what can you tell us about the role of the ombudsman in this election gone?
It's somewhat challenging in a sense, but what we did, so in the commission, we set up a unit that was tasked to sort of do the day-to-day work as it relates to the ombudsman. We did get a number of complaints came into us. We did address a number of them, certainly at the chairman's level, where he had a number of interaction with leaders of the political party. So so after some of those meetings, the complaints got less and less, and people certainly towards the latter part, going closer to the election, there were a lot more level of tolerance out there in terms of the interaction of supporters of both sides. You got less complaint in terms of people tearing down posters, etc., and being hostile to each other. So the mechanism, we had to resort to a mechanism where we set up a unit that would do the legwork and then report into the 9 of us, and then for us to give certain instructions.
Okay. So you found your task, your dual nature or triple nature, wasn't it taxing on you as an individual?
Just certain, yes, an answer to that, yes. But for me as a director, that was my main focus. Was to focus on the election side, the preparation for and the execution of the election. So that's where was my focus. So the ombudsman, basically, as I said, we left it up to that unit. And the others would have played a greater role in the workings of that function, while I spent most of the time focusing on the director of election work in terms of the execution and preparation and execution for the election.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, sir, and all the best to you and the team at the EOJ for a good job as far as I'm concerned. That it was really, really rough, and we recognize that at one point in the evening after the poll closed, that there was a great deal of desire to see the results rolling in, but they were slow in the start. Mainly, I'm not too sure what was the real reason behind that, but then it picked up in the latter part of the night.
Okay.
Right.
Well,
So
we remember we had to wait until the boxes come into the counting center.
mhm.
And each constituency had only one counting center. So some depends on where the boxes were. They would have to be by road, etc., taken into counting center. So that's why. But I think we did a pretty good job by 10 o'clock. Most of the results were out.
Mhm.
We had election in Guyana on Monday. Up to now, you don't know the results of that election.
My goodness.
Mhm.
My goodness. Well, once again, sir, thanks very much for joining us at a short notice, and we do appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Congratulations, sir, on a job well done.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, listeners, viewers, that was Mr. Glassball Brown. He's the director of election, and of course, you did hear him say that he and still is the political ombudsman. Played some role in kind of reducing tensions that were growing prior to the election being held. But tonight we have the election behind us, and we have a 29 to 34, is it? 29 to 34 seat distribution in the
28,
House.
I'm seeing.
Well, this thing is saying I see 29 being reported in the Gleaner today,
Oh, okay.
2934. At the time when this table was up last night, we were at 28. I'm not too sure what's the reasoning behind Mr. Brown is still with us. What's the real count at this time, sir? Has the PNP lost one?
No, the player count is 34-29. That's where we
That's right.
34-29. Yes, that's
yeah,
what we're seeing.
34-29.
Right. I'm not too sure where it says that this this was posted last night. It says that you have declared it. Oh, you have declared 28. Which one is still hanging?
No, all were declared last night.
All were declared.
Yes,
Okay.
last night. Yeah.
So it's maybe the table that I'm looking at here was at the point when one was outstanding.
Correct.
Maybe at that point, yes. Yeah,
Right,
maybe.
right. And those by-elections that were run.
Those are completed. The Jamaica Labour Party candidates won in the three by-elections.
And those were JLP divisions?
Yeah, they were controlled by the JP, yes.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Fair enough. Thank you so much again, sir. Thank you, Sir Don.
Okay, good.
Wonderful. All right, so we're going to be continuing. We're going to just take a little break and come right back with our discussion. We're going to be going through the map, and we're going to look at some of those persons who, who have done well and those who have not. Surprises or no surprises. As Sir Don, you're still with us. Any surprises before we take the break? Any surprises that you saw in terms of persons coming through and those are no longer in the race? This is for Sir Don Anderson, if you may.
I have to leave right after that, right?
Right,
So,
not a problem.
the number of them, but it's difficult to remember all of them. I think perhaps East Portland was a bit of a surprise. A lot of people thought that the vases were impenetrable there, but that didn't happen. I thought also all reports from prior to the election was that Montague would not have retained the seat he did. Those are two that stand out for sure. I can't think of any others that really were huge surprises. Perhaps that Central Kingston was as close as it was because that's generally for the most part a PNP seat, and the general view was that it would have been won comfortably. It wasn't as comfortably. I think those are the ones that, as far as I'm concerned, were standouts. I think, and I don't want to say which seats a particular party thought they were going to win. I'm thinking generally what we were picking up, how the
Yes.
seats were likely to be distributed. And those three that I mentioned were the ones that stood out as far as I'm concerned. That's about it.
There was the one in Eastern Jamaica. Yes, there's this one that Shaw unseats Charles.
In East St. Thomas.
Yes.
Again, it depends on where you look at it from because we have a considerable amount of constituency polls. Right? So it might be viewed from different perspectives, but we have done a lot of constituency polls, and so we have insider knowledge basically on
Yes,
how the
yes.
poll are likely to come out. And St. Thomas was one that we had as going to the Eastern St. Thomas as one that would be going to the People's National Party. That wasn't a surprise for us.
Mhm. And over in the Portmore in St. Catherine, we saw where newcomer Mr. Dr. Dawes
Mhm.
pulling over Mr. Miller or in that side.
Not a surprise. We had data that indicated that was a distinct possibility.
And Richardson in Northwest Clarendon.
No, no surprise.
No surprises. But what about Northeast Manchester?
This is where Ambassador Marks
Yes,
ran.
yes,
That's an
yes,
old Audley Shaw seat.
yes.
It would have required a lot to have moved that one, even though I know it was targeted, and it was reported at one stage that it was a potential, but you know, Audley Shaw had been there a number of years, and that it was retained was not a surprise, even though it was felt at one point in time it could have gone.
Mhm, mhm. Well, there's a lot of celebration taking place. That's as much as I know right now.
Right,
Just
right.
in my neck of woods, you hear the vuvuzelas, you hear the bell ringing.
Right.
It's happening, and some shouts of and music on the other side.
Sure.
But
There's a
for right now, we want to say thanks once again for Polster Don
My
Anderson
pleasure.
for joining us again, sir. Thank you so much, and have a good night.
And you too. And both of you, all the very best, and to all your viewers and listeners. Thank
To you
Thank
you.
you
too,
so
sir.
much. Thank you so
Excellent.
much. All right, we did say we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come right back. This is our NRP Radio election review right here on the station. We are coming to you live and reminding you once again that if you want to make a contribution to our discussion, then you can send me a WhatsApp voice note to 876-336-9928, 876-336-9928. Or if you're on the radio platform, nrpmediaja.com, you can also pose your questions in the box that is there. We're on Facebook Live under LEAON, Leon Nash, or NRP Media JA on YouTube. So if anywhere you are, you can pose your question. We will try to provide an answer for you. This is NRP Radio. The time is now 9:46. Hello, NRP listeners. Join us on Election Day for the NRP Election Watch. Here the panelists review the debates, look at the voter turnout, and give you the latest box by box and constituency by constituency count. Yes, it's an election like never before. Tune in on YouTube and Facebook at NRP Media JA and on our radio platform at nrpmediaja.com, connecting you with our partners in the diaspora, KVRN Network and Gospel Expression Radio. NRP Radio and NRP Media, reaching you where you are, no boundaries, no limitations. Yes, indeed. We're back with you right here on this station. It is our review of the elections just passed, and quite a mouthful and more of information that was just given to us there, Joshua.
Yes, yes. It seemed by both accounts, it amounted to just being an even in terms of an experience.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been useful to know where, I mean, what kind of contributed to the shift on the day. I mean, what underground made up the 3.1 difference in the poll in what we anticipated in terms of the difference.
Yeah.
It wasn't the airwaves were inundated with a few horror stories. Some of it were really good stories. So it was somewhat balanced in what I'm accustomed to hearing on the day. You know, so it wasn't as chaotic. Some people got there really early. And I understand the morning crowd would have been stiffer than the times in the latter part of the day, because some people would vote in the morning and then go to work and that kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be interesting to discern or even pinpoint what contributed to the shift and what was not accounted for in the assessment or the polls.
Indeed. All right, so we are here once again, and we're going to try our best to run through. I have got my Gleaner in hand with me in-house because I wanted to see what the results were really saying. But we do have it electronically online. You want to scan through for us. I'm gonna bring it back up on screen. We go constituency by constituency, or would like to look at some of the surprises that we have. Well, probably since I have the full spread, maybe it's a way to go. What do you say?
Yeah, man. Yeah, because I'm pulling it up online.
Okay. All right. So we are here with you, and as we said, if you've got questions that you'd like to ask, then you can pose the questions, and we'll try and see how best we can deal with those questions that you're going to pose for us on an evening like this, as we continue to look at reviewing the election just passed, and we're now into as we said, some surprises that we've seen, new faces that have come into the election after the election. And we just want to, let me just see if I can find this back up here and bring it back on screen for you. All right, so we want to look at the parish by parish situation. And as I said, it's 34 versus 29 as the information became available to us. If you have yours before, you can maybe start the ball rolling. I'm trying to get my screen.
Well, mine is not up as yet either. So
Okay.
because I had the page that I was looking at yesterday
Yes.
has been refreshed, and I don't think that page is available any longer.
Right. So that's the thing about it is that I also had on screen up to today the page that we were working from last night with the color. But for some reason, getting my computer into the studio, I lost the page with the color. No, I have only the brighter. If I touch the page, if I touch a page, well, yes, it can tell you some things, but I'm not seeing what I was working with up to last night myself. So really interesting. In fact, this is not really what I want to see.
No, this is just the divisions.
Yes,
subdivisions.
Yes. So try and see how best we can bring something else up. All right. So what we can do in the meantime is to look at what we have seen. So in the Kingston Western division, it was Kingston Western. It is showing us in terms of who the persons who would have won to make up the parliament. 34, as I said, for the Jamaica Labour Party, and 29 for the PNP. So in Kingston Western, Desmond McKenzie holding his position. He's a strong man, I would want to say. In the Jamaica Labour Party. But newcomer in the Kingston area, Kingston Central, I'm not too sure. Oh, yes. Why they would have painted the entire in the Gleaner print. It has the entire the names of the individuals instead of having them in green and orange. They have all things in red. So the People's National Party, Steve McGregor, a former superintendent? A former superintendent of police would have won that seat over Donovan Williams of the Jamaica Labour Party. And I did hear somewhere that the party indicating that they intend to do some checks on that one due to the margin of error. Not the margin of error, but the margin of victory for the People's National Party candidate there in Kingston Central. Whether or not that will change, everything will be determined after today. As going forward, there's a recount taking place. So any errors that would have been made will be picked up by the lawyers, and they're not just leaving them to indoor and outdoor agents. They are doing it with lawyers who can look at the intent of the voter. If they're crossed, the lines crossed each other, as they should, using mathematical terminologies. And you did say that you're IT person, right? So you would understand what I'm talking about there. Kingston East, Port Royal, won again by Philip Paulwell, holding his seat strongly. What the leader does not give you, not seeing it, they have not given you the margin of victory. We had it early on. All right, you know what? Let me go back to the page that I had. Take down all of these and go back to the page that I had before and see whether or not I can find, because it's very, very helpful. All right, so good. I think this is the one. It does not. Yes, I'm going to share this one. The table that we were working through last night, but it doesn't have the color, which is one of my greatest disappointments. To show the the viewers in terms of what was there. All right, so let me bring this one back on screen. All right, there you go. Okay, coming up on screen now. All right, so basically that is where we're at in terms of the results. So we were looking at what was happening there. So we're going to go constituency by constituency. And if we do that, we will see the scores that are there. And we were mentioning Kingston, Desmond McKenzie won by 8,475 to Joseph Witter of the PNP with 1,364. And how do you view that? How do you view that kind of margin of victory?
That's ownership right there.
And it's in Northeast Manchester, the Ornishaw was referred to as Manor Yard.
Yeah, well, they use the term excitedly.
Yes. All right, and we move down the line then. My mouse over here. All right, down from Desmond to Kingston Central, as we mentioned before. Steve McGregor, 4,739 to 4,727. What's
that one was the closest one.
What's the margin there? That's 27, 7 from 9 is 2. That's 13
points.
12.
That's 7 to 12 points.
12 points.
Yeah.
Right, 12 points. So the Jamaica Labour Party are indicating that they want to review that because to see whether or not they can gain 12 points maybe in the review that will be taking place.
Well, that one's kind of nerve-wracking. I mean, the new count might see that shift.
Yeah, but one vote can still hold a winner.
Yeah.
But not sufficient to say
12 times 1.
Yes. All right. So, and then we go to Kingston East and Port Royal, as we mentioned before. Philip Paulwell, 6,255 votes. And then St. Andrew West Rural, the Jamaica Labour Party, Juliet Cuthbert Flynn, holding there. She came into politics some time ago.
Shortly after our last gold medal.
Right, and she is still riding that wave, I would want to say. 6,255 versus Courtney Burnett, 1,000. And so, not that one. Where am I? 8,414 to Joan Gardner-Webley, who was not a newcomer to politics.
Not a newcomer, but it's interesting. The two ladies going at it in this area.
Yes. And that's what's 8,414 to 7,235. That's what, over 800?
Yeah.
Somewhere there. Right. Right. But Juliet holding her position, good performance, one would say, for Joan Gardner-Webley. Down in St. Andrew Western, we come down now to George Anthony Hilton, holding his own there, 8,115, to Corey Dunkley. And then you move to St. Andrew West Central, Andrew Michael Holness at 7,054 against Paul Lennox Buchanan at 4,953. And there's some rumors out there in the street. You must have heard, Joshua, that at one point, the list on the OJ's page had Buchanan way ahead of the Prime Minister at one point in the
Oh,
night.
yes. But when I saw that, I said, well, nobody sorted the box, they just dropped them in there. So it depends on who vote first versus who vote last. So if you start counting from the top, it just simply means that all of who voted for the Prime Minister, Mr. Holness, went first.
Yeah.
That's what, in my mind, is just last in, first out.
All right, just checking to see if we've got anyone who sent in any video or question that they would want us to treat with. Just checking that. Haven't seen any yet. Just reminding our folks that if you want to ask any question, we're just doing our review, running through, looking at the performance of the candidates for the various parties. We want to say thank you, Karen, for coming.
Psalm 34 verse 18
Let's
says,
take the time
the Lord is
signal
close
correct.
to the brokenhearted, and he saves those whose spirit have been crushed. This is NRP Media and Radio. The time is 10 o'clock.
All right, so it's 10 o'clock right here on NRP Radio. We're running through the performance of the candidates in the just concluded general elections. And we were moving on to say thanks to Karen Wall for coming on board with us on a night like this. Christopher Pear, thank you for joining us in our discussion. And on YouTube, we have others who are watching, haven't said anything yet, but we ask you to just indicate, just say hello to us so that we can hail you and thank you appropriately for stay the course with us in our discussion. We hope to complete maybe somewhere around 10:30. Hopefully we can run through all the constituencies by that time. But we were at Mr. Hollis's section, and you were saying Mr. Dwyer?
Yeah, I was just saying that count, it was a last in, first out, because you said persons at some point the count was in favor of Mr. Buchanan, but eventually the wave came in for Mr. Holness.
Yes. All right, so the Prime Minister is well in his position there. St. Andrew East Central, Dennis Jr. Gordon of the PNP. Dennis Jr. Gordon is a newcomer?
Oh no, I've known him for some time. He has been in there. He took over from, oh gosh, there was this other gentleman in his space for that particular area.
Okay.
And he took over from him quite some time now, more than a little over 20 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, that's a good time.
Yeah.
Right. So he polled 6,709 votes to Davian Leon Vassell of the JLP, 4,171. And of course, the Jamaica Progressive Party polled 87 votes. Yesterday, I heard where there were some complaints that persons were saying that the host of the media house was not calling out the independent or the other third parties that performed. I see where Carla Glenys Francis from the JPP got 84 votes. In the constituency of Mr. Hilton, 69 votes by George Stephen Roach in the St. Andrew West Rural. And in Philip Paul's area, JPP got 104 votes. The highest that I've seen so far for third-party candidates, and they will be proud to know that this gentleman will be proud to know that he got over 100 while the others are in there. It is polling because they went into this thing and knowing that it was a tall hill to climb.
Oh,
but
yes.
To have votes being cast for you, passing the 50s and going to the 80s, I think is an achievement for them. All right. So St. Andrew Southwestern, Angela Brown Burke of the PNP. She's the chairman of the PNP, I think. Yes.
Yes.
She has polled 8,575 versus the JLP. So this person was nowhere near Angela's
Nowhere near.
area. I think Angela took over Portia Simpson's seat, right?
Correct.
Good. So she is way ahead of her of Lauren of the JLP, and of course there are two other persons, independent and JPP, 17 and 16 votes respectively. St. Andrew Southern, Mr. Mark Jefferson Golding of the People's National Party, he polled 9,371 to his closest rival, Carlton Allen. with 1,183. In these constituencies, I think that they just for balance that sometimes that candidates are placed in these areas knowing that they are no test at all in my mind to the incumbents.
So they are fillers.
Yes. All right, so we move along then to St. Andrews Southeastern, and there again you have Julian Robinson of the People's National Party, 5,418 votes to Kevin Damian Frith of the JLP, 3,137. And I'm sure Mr. Robinson is looking at, boy, I should have done better than that in my constituency, because
I'm
Julian has
sure,
been there for a little while.
Yeah, in spite of him winning by what looks like more than 2,000 votes, I mean, he must have been expecting a whole lot more.
I'm sure. All right, so they've got work to do. All right, so we continue to look at the results here inside of the NRP radio election review right here on NRP radio. It's 5 minutes after 10. We're making our way down to 10:30. Let's run along and see if we can do that before our significant others call us up and say, hey, where are you? So stick and stay with me as we go along, folks. We're going to try our best to wrap up as quickly as we possibly can to review as much as
particular
possible.
one, Favor missed that one by 400 and something votes. She scraped through that one.
Yes, and even a review, she will stay on top, because you don't normally get back much to really rip through an opponent's scores.
Correct.
You know, so so she's a 6,834 versus 6,386. He said that's 400 and something votes.
Yeah, 430 and change.
Right.
438 maybe.
And Cargill 73 for the JPP. Right, St. Andrew Northeastern, who's that? The Delroy Chuck. No surprises there in a sense.
Yeah, no surprises there.
Right. Okay. St. Andrew North Central, Delana Sibright, and a newbie. He's a newbie in the two election being placed in what? What's the name of this? Mr. Smith's position was that?
I can't remember.
I think that was a seat held by what's the name of the gentleman? Smith. Former National Security Minister.
Oh, okay.
Right, I think that is where he was posted. It says 5,769 votes that he would have polled, showing the dominance of the JLP in that
space
as well. Yes. St. Andrew Northwestern, Dwayne Smith. Oh, no, this is where this is Smith, the son of the father.
Okay.
Dwayne Smith, yes. So Sibright is in I think is in not the national security, but he is a crossover from the People's National Party.
This is one of them that crossed the room.
Yes, yes, becoming a JLP. He was formerly a PNP, then a JLP. Sibright now was placed into that seat. I can't remember the name of the gentleman. No, but Smith now takes over the seat that was held by his father, right? 6,546 to the PNP's Ethne Miller Simpson, 4,443 there. St. Andrew East Rural, the leader there is Juliet Anne-Marie Holness, the wife of the Prime Minister, and Patrick Peterkin, really, really close run for him, 8,498. Could have with a 50 and 40, 97 more votes from Kamisha Hendricks and Jackson, the UIC and the JPP, adding to his one. If they would have voted for Peterkin, would have pushed him up a little bit more closer to Juliet.
Closer, but no cookie.
But yes. All right, and St. Thomas Western, James Robertson, holding his own there, has been there for a good while, 9,252. The PNP's Kevin Williams, Hubert Kevin Williams, tried hard, but still could not make the mark. And so Robertson remains as the member of parliament elect in that era as well. This is where we had some shakeup in St. Thomas Eastern. where Yvonne Marie Shaw, 7,356, in a sense, dethroned Michelle Charles of the JLP, 6,937 votes there, and Wong and Blair of the Independent and JPP together, 77 votes
77
between
votes,
both
yes.
of them. Yes. Portland Eastern, Isaac Buchanan is another one that was a surprise
Yes.
for Jamaica, because Isaac, being an attorney at law, represented what's the name of the singer there recently, who was released from prison. He represented him, and some persons are saying that probably that helped him somewhat to
I am sure.
But he
I am
said
sure.
in an interview I heard earlier today that no, God on time, he said. So he 8,316 votes he cast, which is what some not as much as 200 ahead of Anne-Marie Vaz of the JLP. She rode
the Vaz is not getting good press.
not at all, not tonight at all.
Well, the other one got through in Portland West.
Was it that's Darrell?
Darrell.
Yes,
Darrell did well in his place.
Yes,
but it didn't bode so well for Anne-Marie.
Not at all. There's 4,937. Make that 5,000 if you round that off with the 23 votes that went to the JPP. If you were to add that one to Forbes of the PNP, it would take that to 5,000. To 5,000. So that would be 1,000 and plus, close to Vaz. So is that saying anything at all? As much as you would want to look at for the Vaz in Portland. And before you even respond, I also heard that where Darrell has indicated that this is his last election.
Yes, I saw an interview where he did say that. As for how far that will go, because he's saying that he would like to spend.
No.
Yeah. To be interesting to see who would succeed him, and how will that go over in the next 5 years, because 5 years is a long time.
Yes, indeed. All right, so we are where we are with Portland. We have another
St. Mary,
1, 2, 3, 4 set of constituencies to look at quickly if we can get there. But St. Mary Southeastern, Christopher Brown of the PNP,
very close on that one,
just a little ahead of Norman Dunn, and that's an area that the Jamaica Labour Party have indicated that they are somewhat surprised, that Christopher Brown would have done so good over Norman Dunn. And
that one was very close, because had the votes of Mr. Hutchinson gone the other way, as in one gone green instead of blue.
One of the two.
Yes. Yeah.
It had thrown both of them, into some kind of spin there.
Correct.
Yeah, St. Mary's Central, Anthony Newell of the PNP, he took that one as well. Anthony Newell. All right. So he is in for the PNP. St. Mary Western, the Jamaica Labour Party, Robert Montague, 9,394 over Omar Woodbine of the People's National Party, and of course the ULC, 35 votes. St. Anne Southeastern, where Kenneth Russell holding his own there, 7,492 over the JLP. St. Anne Northeastern, Matthew Samuda, not so much of a newcomer. He was in the Senate, but he has taken over Shahini Robinson's seat, I think that is.
Yes.
Yes, and holding his own out there with 9,528. St. Anne Northwestern, you also had Crystal Kerry and Lee of the JLP winning over the PNP and Gabriel Morris, 8,250 to 7,488. St. Anne Southwestern, Xavier Main of the JLP holding his own as well, over the PNP's candidate, 5,039. Trelawney Northern, Tova Tenny Hamilton of the JLP winning, 8,159 over Wickham McNeil. And somebody now they are questioning and said, well, why did the PNP run Wickham in that constituency? He would have done better elsewhere. because
Possibly. It's
that's what
strange
they're
though, because that one was a surprise to me.
You expected Wickham to do better?
I was anticipating a switch there, but maybe there were factors that I was unaware of.
All right, and there go Dalrymple Filbert coming back after her ordeal in the last member of parliament. She had some challenge, and and she was out and then in, and 6,832. So she's back into the house. Probably the speaker again.
Yes, crowd favorite.
Yes, over Paul Patmore, and Paul not doing too badly though. 5,215.
Yeah, didn't do badly at all.
Yes. I said James East Central. JLP went to Edmund Bartlett as was expected. St. James Northwestern. St. James, what is this?
Mr. Chang.
Yes, Horace Chang,
Yeah.
6,313,
That's pretty
50% down to Bernard of the People's National Party. St. James Central, Heroy Clark of the JLP taking that over Janice Allen. St. James West Central, Marlene Malho Fort. Andre Horton was hoping to unseat the former judge, right? Now what's her position again in the House? Marley Mallow Fort of the Jamaican Labour Party. She led the all of those reviews that were being done in terms of Jamaica moving away from the monarch, right? And she was leading that.
Constitutional reform.
Right, constitutional reform, right. Andre,
Justice
5,404 to 6,000. A good show, I would want to say, for him down there, despite the fact that he still lost. St. James Southern, Nikisha Burchell of the PNP won that one. Just, I would say, 276 versus 493, right? Over Homer Davis. They both of them performed very well, I would want to say. But one vote more is a whole lot more.
Is a whole lot more.
Right. Okay. Hanover Eastern, the leader was Andrea Perkis of the PLP. She won by 5,905 to Dave Hume Brown, 5,138. Hanover Western, Heather Miller Bennett, 6,995 to the JLP's 5,905. Over in Westmoreland is where it's almost.
Yeah, it was a pretty tight one down.
Yes, Westmoreland, the JLP were really hoping to make a difference down there. But Ian Hales, who is a former Hanover member of parliament, is now member of parliament elect in Westmoreland this time around. Right, 7,992, doing very well over Garfield James of the JLP.
Strong. Yeah, that was a pretty strong one.
6,024, yes. And 71 and 26 making that 97 to the Independents and the JPP. Westmoreland Central, Dwayne Vaz of the PNP, 9,916 to George Wright of the JNP, 8,385. And the two independents sharing some in the 30s, 39 and 38 there, Greenwood and Foote. Westmoreland Eastern. So if you check out what's happening here, it was am I correct to use the term a clean sweep for the PNP in Westmoreland?
I wouldn't say a clean sweep. Oh, you mean for Westmoreland?
For Westmoreland.
Yeah.
Westmoreland is won by the because I'm seeing here, let's go back. Westmoreland Western, PNP. Westmoreland Central, PNP. Westmoreland Eastern, PNP. Right? Dayton Campbell, who is the General Secretary of the People's National Party, 7,558 to Daniel Lawrence of the Jamaica Labour Party, 5,624.
Look like a sweep.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. That's three constituencies in Westmoreland. Right, so yes, so Westmoreland is over to the People's National Party, and they won very well for them over there in Westmoreland, and the JLP not getting what they wanted out of Westmoreland. So it has gone back to the PNP because it was in the last administration, and they are now taking it back. Over into St. Elizabeth, now Northwestern. Andrew Morris, 5,555 to the PNP's 3,831. Taking that one for the Jamaica Labour Party. St. Elizabeth Northeastern, Zalika Jess of the PNP winning that one, 8,331 to Delroy Slowly of the JLP. Delroy Slowly was the member of parliament before, right, in the last administration. So he being bumped out by the newcomer Jess in St. Elizabeth Northeastern. St. Elizabeth Southwestern, Floyd Green holding his own there handsomely, 9,705 to 8,462 by Miranda Wellington. I think Miranda would have done, I would say, looking at the scores, that you would say good job by Wellington. Good job by Wellington, coming so close to Floyd, who is holding his own out there. And persons have been saying that based on the voter pattern of St. Elizabeth Southwestern, Green is seemed to be some places they call him Garrison, because they seem to be voting in a particular direction each time around.
You expect nothing different. I mean, you have to do really badly in those areas to lose.
Yes. Manchester now, coming over into Manchester, the surprise for the Jamaica Labour Party was that Ives was being touted to hold Manchester Southern, but Peter Bunting, who ran in central Manchester prior to this, was defeated by Rhoda Crawford. He went over into the south, where he thought that he was a better place for him, and he came out on top, 8,573 to Ives 7,903. And again, you could say that Ives run a good leg.
Yes, I think it was a good attempt at that space.
Yes, a good attempt at holding the position. But Peter Bunting using his experience and really getting that one. Manchester Central is where I thought that there would have been a flip, but it didn't happen at all.
It came very close.
Yes, 8,916
to
9,098. How much is that? That's quite a few that might not necessarily be eroded in a recount. But Donovan Anthony Mitchell, the mayor of Mandeville, current mayor, he would have run a good leg.
Just under 200 at 182.
Right, and hopefully there are no discrepancies that can overturn that one for a vote.
That one can be a little bit scary too. After the recount, this could easily be a flip.
Yes. All right. Well, let's see, because things normally happen, and marks are not placed at the right spot, and all kinds of things can cause change. Manchester Northwest Manchester, Michael Phillips, 7,025 to Damon Christopher Young of the JLP, 5,880. One would have thought that based on the new bus coming into play, right, and being displayed in the constituency of Northwest Manchester, that and the kind of work that Mr. Young would have put in the era, one would have thought that he would have come up a little bit stronger in that era. But it's a stronghold for Michael and the People's National Party, and he showed.
And I think those areas were specifically chosen, to go and test the vehicles and to test drive and showcase the vehicles. Certain areas were handpicked.
Yes. So as we move along, it's now 22 minutes after 10 o'clock. We are in our review of the past election, just going by constituency. And we're now into Manchester Northeastern, or the Shaw's stronghold, Manaya, they call him. All right. Audrey Marks coming in just about 2 weeks, or maybe less than 2 months into the constituency, and holding her own of riding on the wave of Audrey Shaw, I would want to say, 8,139 to Valington Wind, who has been there a good while, working hard to win over the people, and he managed to poll 6,274 Clive Warren from the Jamaica Progressive Party made 33. If you add that to Wynn's role, if you wanted to, then that would have been just bringing him 6,300, 6,300 something, right? Nowhere near.
307.
Nowhere near
Yeah, no, man, nowhere
the
near.
1,000 plus 1,500 plus votes that Ms. Marks would have won by. So we say congratulations to her in coming in so late but doing so good in Northeast Manchester as well. Clarendon Northwestern, Richard Azan, who was out because of the former member of parliament of the JLP who had won. The Warren Newby was thrust into the constituency at the last closer to before election was declared, right? He polled 6,490 to 6,989. I would want to say this is a pretty close run.
Yes, it is. It is. Given the time that he had and the time to work,
yes,
that was a pretty good turnout, which means that may have loyalty may have accounted for that run that he had.
Mm-hmm. So that's 490 versus 9. So we're looking at what, something between 300 and 400 difference in terms of the votes.
Yeah, roughly.
Right.
So anything is possible right there.
Right. So for you to continue to garner and strengthen some reflection would have to be done, I'm sure, by
one short of 500.
Yes, you could have done much better. That you need to look at, where and why is that, the new person coming in would have polled so close to you being there for such a long time. Let's move on, though. That's the results. The people have voted. The people have indicated. Clarendon Northern, Wavell Hines, newcomer, I would want to say to the politics of the day, declared the winner. So he's member of parliament elect for Clarendon Northern, 5,763. That sounds like an area that was the seat that was held by I'm seeing his face now, but name is escaping me now, where Wavell Hines has taken over that era. But Dwight Sibbles, right? Sibbles was the member of parliament recently, and he was defeated by Wavell Hines. Right, and the Clarendon North Central, Robert Nestor Morgan holding it for the Jamaica Labour Party over R.J. Dixon of the People's National Party and JPP, 29 votes. Delroy Williams being out of Kingston, right? Delroy Williams is out of Kingston.
Yes.
Former mayor of the Kingston and St. Andrew. He's taking the seat held by Mike Henry, 6,674. And this was another interesting one to watch because the current mayor wanted to have run in that seat, but they thought that Delroy would have done a better job, which he has shown that he has the capacity.
He did.
The sad thing about the elections in Jamaica, though, is that we see where a number of candidates are being shifted from, they don't live in the constituency, and therefore they have to depend on people, from the area to support them.
Yeah, it tells me that it's all people based. So it has nothing to do with the performance of what is going on in the space. It's just who you know and what historically who is more popular.
All right, so we are coming down closer and closer to the close. It's 27 minutes after 10. We did say 10:30.
Yes.
So we're getting there. Mr. Cousins, Lothan Cousins in Clarendon Southwestern. And there again, there was another PNP gentleman that he took over there. Well, Lothan is a returnee. He is the spokesman on agriculture for the People's National Party, holding his own there, 7,328 over Robert Chin, right? Robert Chin of the Jamaica Labour Party. And then we go to Clarendon Southeastern, Pernell Charles holding his own there, 9,515 to the PNP's Barneswell, who was the deputy mayor to because you know that they had a split in Clarendon down the middle, right? Okay. So Barneswell was the one who was the PNP's person in the council. 8,013 votes that he would have cast, and Charles holding his own and showing who is in charge. right? Sian Thomas, 57 votes from the JPP. St. Catherine Northwestern, Damian Crawford there, really
no
saying
question
that
about that one. Yeah.
that's all right. 7,580, a young man over Newton Amos, the former police Amos was that a superintendent?
Superintendent. I recognize the name. Yes.
Yes. Amos, Newton Amos, 4,855. So he still can't make it in past Crawford. And so he continues in that. Lloyd Damon Smith, 21 for the JPP. St. Catherine Southwestern, we have Clifford Warmington. We know him as Everett Warmington, right?
Well,
10,000. This is one of the biggest grabs since 10,600.
That's the largest count, really.
Yes, and he always says that he always boasts to say that he and Portia similar cousins or family, but
easily the most controversial person.
Yes, the most controversial, and the people seem to love him down there, so he continues to enjoy a good showing.
I seem to believe, I honestly believe that hot water is cool water for him. And that's where he thrives best in hot water.
I tell you. St. Catherine Southern, for those of you who are still listening with us tonight, we are appreciating of your time that you're spending with us. Fitz Jackson, showing that he is not going anywhere, 9,025, holding the seat there for the People's National Party over Dobney. 5,970 votes. St. Catherine Central, Babsy Grange, a very seasoned politician, coming from the days of Siaga, right? 9,217 still there, and have no indication given that she's going anywhere, right? Over Phoebe Lewis of the People's National Party, 2,070, nowhere near getting to Babsy Grange at all. St. Catherine Southeastern, this is one of the surprises of the night. Alfred Dawes, a doctor by training, right? 7,754. To Robert Miller, the former incumbent member of parliament for the JLP, 7,187. I heard Mr. Miller recently said that he was confident that he was going to retain the seat, but the people have spoken differently. And that's over 600 votes difference.
567.
Right, for Mr. Dawes, coming into the parliament. He should have been with us tonight, but he has indicated that he will join us at another time, because I'm sure that he too has a vision that he wants to share. And in the opposition section, I'm sure that he will be given a strong position to because I know that they do have spokespersons on health. That is his calling. So let's see what happens when the opposition rolls out its shadow cabinet. St. Catherine North Central, Natalie Nita Garvey of the PNP, showing dominance there, 7,098 to the JLP's 4,229. St. Catherine West Central, this was taken by Chris Tofton, of course, 6,940, and Vivian Francis tried hard, but was only able to go halfway.
Trailing behind the ever fit Mr. Tofton.
I tell you, yes. What is this thing called? He has something some exercise thing. What does he call it?
I didn't know. I just know that he's very
Jamaica moves.
Is it Jamaica moves?
Jamaica moves is his
congratulations to him. I did not know that.
Yes. So as he said, the party says they choose Jamaica, so he continues to show a strong showing in that area. St. Catherine Northeastern, Kerenice Morrison of the JLP won that, just a little bit above Eva Higgins of the PNP, 4,598, and there were 38 votes shared between Robert Dean Renfred and Howell. St. Catherine Eastern joined Dennis Daly of the PNP, showing dominance there, 6,758. To Pecco of the JLP, 4,413. St. Catherine South Central, 7,630, won by the JLP Andrew Wheatley, showing strong showing there. Over Kurt Matthews of 2,905. And these kind of scores, you when you look at it, you say, boy, there was no chance for the opposition in that race at all. 2-7 ratio, right? And the final one we're looking at tonight is two gentlemen who are well known on either side of Mr. Taralong, I think, was in the Ministry of Sports and Culture, right? For the JLP, and he 6,364. So it's by 1,000 votes.
Approximately, let me do the
1,000, right? 364 and 379, somewhere there. 1,000 votes over Raymond Price of the People's National Party. So he's showing that
okay, just under 1,000, 985.
Yes, that he was there and he was doing, in his own mind, doing a good job. So we say, well, congratulations to all 5, 9 and 4, 13, 63 president, not president, but member of parliament elect.
Members of parliament,
Members
correct.
of parliament elect, yes, for the People's National Party and the Jamaica Labour Party. 34 JLP, PNP 29. And if it were differently, you would have heard there could have been a deafening silence tonight.
A deafening silence. Well, I think I would challenge that to say that it would have been an even louder cry.
Oh my goodness. What went wrong is what would have been the question.
Yes, there is both celebratory cries as well as wailing cries.
Yes. But that's it, folks. We are now at 6:35. I want to say thanks to Joshua Dwyer for joining me and carrying through our review of the election 2025. Not too sure when we're going to be back here, but we want to say thanks to all of you who came on YouTube to join us in our discussion, and those who came on Facebook, and those of you who are on the radio platform. Thanks a million to all of you for showing up and making NRP relevant in a time like this. So until another time, and of course, it's going to be right here on NRP Radio and NRP Media. This has been our Election Watch 2025 and our review. And of course, when we get the chance to speak to some of these newcomers and some of those who have held their own, definitely we will bring that information to you. So on behalf of the entire team, Miss Anne-Marie Bishop, who was not able to join us due to, failing. Well, is it failing? Give me a correct. Ailing. Yeah, she was not feeling so well tonight. So she was not able to join us. So we know she was listening. And also Mr. Hansen, who joined us for a short period of time. I'm sure he would have loved to have been here. I will want to say thanks to Mr. Glasspool Brown, the Director of Election, and Mr. Don Anderson, the pollster, for coming on. We had also Dr. Amiel, who was with us during the election coverage, and Mr. Henry, of course. Mr. Henry, we're here. We want to say thanks to all of you having supported NRP in this time. And so we're going to be closing out and handing it back now to Master Control. And I think it will be nice for me to just go back and play my election coverage theme music, and then we're out of here. Thanks again, my brother. And any final word anything you want to say to the candidates and the people who voted in the election 2025 before
it was an honor. It was an honor to share this space and to really put focused thought on this process. I don't think I've ever done it in such a setting. I'm pretty impressed by our efforts this time around. Let's see what the magisterial count brings, and I'm really hoping for better things, not only for our electoral process, but for Jamaica as a whole. I pray that our disposition for this type of thing and our appetite for the electoral process improves, and that we would demand a higher class of experience each time we go through it. Not sure what the political climate is going to be like for the next 5-10 years, but I hope in the end that Jamaica will benefit largely. So I want to thank you all for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you too, my brother, and all the best. And I'm sure we'll keep our contacts because we might have to call on you suddenly to if there's any information that comes our way, so that we can share and analyze the information. Thank you, listeners and viewers. All the best to you.
Hello, NRP listeners. Join us on Election Day for the NRP Election Watch. Here the panelists review the debates, look at the voter turnout, and give you the latest box by box and constituency by constituency count. Yes, it's an election like never before. Tune in on YouTube and Facebook at NRP Media JA and on our radio platform at nrpmediaja.com, connecting you with our partners in the diaspora, KVRN Network, and the Gospel Expression Radio. NRP Radio and NRP Media, reaching you where you are, no boundaries, no limitations.
Hey, are you searching for a hardware that caters to your every needs? Then look no further than Roofing Master R&D. Hardware Limited, located at Mount Olivet Main Road, on your way to or from Spalding. Roofing Master, we specialize in Metro Shake, Decra Shake, roofing tiles, decor tiles, felting, lumber, accessories. We sell and install all roofing materials. We do rentals on scaffolding and props for decking. We sell solar water heaters, 100 liter, 150 liter, 200 liter, and solar lights, plumbing pipes and fixtures, electrical wires and accessories, tools and paints, kitchen sinks, windows, tanks, and all types of security doors. All at an unbeatable and unbelievable price. Visit us today for all your building and hardware needs. Cause at Roofing Master R&D and Hardware Limited. We are the roofing specialists. We aim to please our customers. For more information, call us at 876-912-3581 or 876-445-2520 or 876-819-9920 or 876-437-4016. Email robertsroofingfirm23@hotmail.com. Visit us today. You'll be glad you did.
Thank you for the information, sir. Come here, say Roofing Master have the best prices. So me gone on there right now.
Thank you so much. And we hand you back now to Master Control. It's down 10:41. And this is where we put the wrap on things. Bless you, bless you, bless you. Until then.
Hi, listeners. You're listening to Divine Praise with Chris Wilby on Caribbean Vibes Radio Network and NRP Media JA. You can find us on the web at www.caribbeanvibesradio.com, Caribbean with a K, and nrpmediaja.com, reaching you where you are. No boundaries, no limitations. You can also find us on TuneIn Radio or on Google Play Store. Caribbean Vibes Radio Network, covering the globe like no one else can. And here's your special invitation to join Chris Wilby right here on NRP Radio every Sunday evening at 6 o'clock to 8 p.m. for Divine Praise. Yes, it's an inspiring 2 hours of music and features right here on this station.